Hello, hello. We are back, or more, I should say, I'm back with Jay and Angelo.
It's Nancy, everybody.
She's back with me and Angelo.
It's been 2 weeks since we've had a Nancy.
I liked the way I sounded better last week.
That's a lot of time without Nancy.
And it's good to be back. All right, so first up, some announcements. Otafest is very proud to announce the Crunchyroll is part of our live stream event with the debut of a new panel called Senpai Notice Me. Think you've got what it takes to be Crunchyroll Senpai's attention? Stay tuned on how to apply. You could be one of 6 lucky contestants who will get 1 month of free premium membership to Crunchyroll just for being the chosen ones. Come join the fun. It's gonna be a riot. And in case you missed it, you can pre-purchase your Otafest 2021 merchandise in time for our online streaming event now. Orders will begin shipping at the end of April 2021. Please note that we can only ship to Canada and the USA at this time. Check out with at least one of each item and receive a thank you card from Seth. Visit otafest.square.site for all your official Otafest merchandise needs.
Huzzah! Thank you cards abound.
Thank you, Cardo. It's X and O and X and O. I won't give away the rest. It's a secret.
I hear it's card-shaped. Can you confirm or deny?
Deny.
None of us are on merch staff, are we?
No.
We're not on merch staff. We don't know.
I don't know anything about merch. I've never even heard of the stuff.
For all I know, it could be heart-shaped cards.
I mean, that holiday already passed.
Yeah.
But the holiday
or
that just came
O-wing-shaped
by.
cards.
I prefer rabbit-based holidays over heart-based holidays.
I was going to say, Happy Easter.
Yes.
Happy Easter. Do you guys partake in Easter chocolate?
Yes.
I do the same thing I do for Easter every year, which is nothing. It's like a preview to Halloween. And you're like, why?
It is.
Well,
it
there's
really
chocolate
is.
involved. There's
And you get discount chocolate if you
There's
wait one
chocolate
day
involved?
afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know,
But it's bunny shaped.
I'm sure very orthodox religious people may not like me saying that. But you
Here's
know,
the thing about Easter and religion. It's all bullshit.
woof.
All the fun parts about Easter are the least religious parts.
I mean, how did the Easter bunny even become a thing? Like, how did bunnies enter the mythology
It's based on
of Easter?
the pagan god Easter, who was a goddess who used hares and rabbits in her symbolism.
Cool. Today I learned.
And of course, because Easter originally was a pagan holiday, that the Christians were just like, hey, you godless heathens, if we tell you that this weekend is the weekend where Jesus Christ came back from the dead, will you be Christians? And they were like, can we still eat our colored eggs? And after very many sleepless nights, worrying and praying for their souls, some priests were like, yeah, you can eat your eggs.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
All I know is, for our anime enthusiast friends out there, in case you're wondering whether you can enjoy anime and Easter, go watch Cutie Honey, where there's an episode, apparently, where one of the characters is crucified.
Oh no.
Oh my.
I would rather just watch Saint Young Men and enjoy Jesus that way. I am a casual Jesus enjoyer when it comes to Saint Young Men. Buddha's cool. Buddha can come too.
Oh, wait, hold on. Sailor Moon also has a crucifixion scene.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah. Like a couple, weren't there?
Oh my
I will
God.
send a link in our Discord, and you can,
Oh,
there
yeah.
are at least
Okay.
a couple.
The thumbnail is from which activity? I think it was called.
Yes. Something like that.
It was an absolutely forgettable anime with the best ending of the season.
Witchcraft Works.
Witchcraft Works. Which activity is the name of the song? That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole song. They've just got like the chibi versions of the antagonist witches crucified, and they're just singing the song. It's fucking great. It's the cutest thing ever, and it's actually an absolute banger of a song.
Wow. What a dichotomy there.
It's absolutely fantastic.
But
If you haven't watched Witchcraft Works, It's okay. But the ending scene is obligatory for any weeb.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir. All right, then. Starting off podcast with crucifixions. All right.
Hell yeah. And speaking of Easter and Easter chocolates, how do you eat your Easter bunny? Or have you ever eaten an Easter bunny before, you guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But mostly when I was a kid. I don't actually remember the last time I had one.
I expected that you did, but did you have a preference on how you ate the bunny?
So I don't know if it was so much of a preference. I think it was more just like I ate it from top to bottom. That was just the way that like I as a child just, went about it. I ate the ears, then go all the way down to the bottom. And I always kind of feel like the feet are the least interesting because like that's where the chocolate deforms the most.
True. But I always ate the ears first. Probably at first because that was the easiest thing to do, like you said. But after a while, I was like, yeah, I don't want him to hear me talking shit about him.
Oh my god.
And then I would eat from the other end so that like they suffered the longest. Because I was a horrible child. I was really bad.
Wait.
I wish I could tell you. Yeah, I wish I could tell you that you were unique, but I feel like a lot of people think that way too.
Oh, absolutely. I know that I'm not unique. Like, if you ask people if they eat the Easter Bunny head first or ass first, there's going to be a significant portion that don't eat it head first.
No, that's just... I never thought to do that as a child. I don't know particularly why, but that particular
Nancy's
thought just never really crossed my mind.
Nancy is a good person, apparently.
Is this the new good person test, Angela?
No.
You eat your Easter bunnies.
No, that's always going to be shopping carts.
Yes.
I feel like, okay, it's been way too long since I've had an Easter bunny. Because, let's be honest, like, Easter bunny chocolate is some of the worst chocolate you can have.
Oh, true.
No,
because
totes.
it's almost entirely made for, like, 5-year-olds to 10-year-olds
It's
who really
very
don't
bad.
care.
Yeah.
They just, like,
don't
is it
have
sweet?
a palate for
Now,
chocolate.
and here's the other thing. I'm not saying that there are not Easter bunnies that are made with good chocolate. I just don't want that much of good chocolate in the first place. Like, I don't need a block of good chocolate. I need bits. I need, like, truffles or, like, that kind of thing. So it's been forever, so I don't remember which part I really ate so much as I remember that I would break off parts more than just bite into it. So I'd like take off the ears, and I'd take off the tail, and I'd take off the arms. So
I see.
I'm a
Jay is more
sadist.
interested in vivisection
yes.
Vivisection.
instead of
Jeez.
just biting into it like some kind of animal.
No. I like my Easter
He has
bunny
to butcher
with
his
some
food instead
fava
of just
beans and a nice
Chianti.
Chianti.
Wow. I like my Easter bunnies in proper portions.
Yes.
Preparing your food like a civilized man. How dare you? How dare
Oh
you?
my god.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm sure that like we have a lot of friends that have young families and stuff like that. I'm sure that they were able to get out and enjoy Easter in all the childlike ways that one can. We certainly, as adults, don't really get it anymore, I feel like, unless you're very religious, and that's, something else entirely.
I completely forgot it was Easter today until my mom was like, hey, do you want a milk chocolate Easter bunny or a peanut butter chocolate Easter bunny? And I know that Dio likes milk chocolate, so I was like, yeah, I'll have the peanut butter.
Nice.
And
But I
how
mean-
was it?
It was basically like a giant rabbit-shaped Reese peanut butter cup. It was fantastic.
And did you eat it head first or...
As far as that goes, I'm not a sadistic child anymore, so I just shoved its entire face into my mouth. I wanted to put it out of its misery sooner rather than later.
Mm,
So yeah, we'll take this guy out in one bite. We don't want him to feel it.
nice.
Wow. It's very merciful of you.
But yeah. Another thing that obviously came by is April Fools.
Yes. The
I-
Do
April
you guys
Fools.
see any favorite things on the internet?
I don't think we did anything, by the way. Usually we will think about doing it, but I think this year we just didn't have like we just didn't have the motivation to do so. And there's always so much stuff going on anyways. I know some
it
people
kind of gets
were
lost
sort of
in the noise.
Yeah, and some people are just like I read that some people are just kind of tired of April Fool's stuff during like the kind of period that we're in right now. It's just like not really feeling it, but I can't blame any brand or person that wants to engage. There were some really fun ones, I think. So Stack Overflow, Nancy, I think you were saying that had a really fun one.
Yeah, so Stack Overflow announced that they were moving to a subscription model, so you were allowed 2 copies of any of their articles. Like if there's like an answer to a question and you wanted to copy paste anything out of it, you were allowed 2 copies every month, and then after that you had to pay for them. And I guess that's kind of how a lot of news sites work now. You're allowed like X article views for a month, and then after that you got to pay or sign up or something.
Yes.
Right.
It's very frustrating.
Not my favorite. I know that they were like intentionally trying to be inflammatory with that one, and it was just like,
Yeah.
Like they do know the audience that they're talking to, right? Like someone could very easily write a Chrome extension that circumvents this.
Absolutely. My God. But actually implementing that would be such a nightmare. Jesus.
Yeah, like how would you do that? Would you just like disable the Control-C shortcut? Like
I've been to websites in the past where they have tried to do this by having some JavaScript that runs whenever you do a right click.
Right click, yeah.
And so some of them would be super annoying and be like, hey, no downloading our files when you try to right click. No, that's bad, sir. Some other ones would be like anytime you right clicked to copy and paste, they would deselect whatever text that you had.
Yeah.
Which means, hey, learned Control-C, Control-V instead.
Exactly. I've also seen purposefully hidden text. So, like, they'll start off with, like, the first, 4 sentences or something of their article, and then it fades off at the bottom, and they purposefully hide the remainder of the content. And for a little while, you could get around that, because if you just looked at the HTML source, you could continue reading it. But then they actually, like, cut it off. Like, the actual text itself was never loaded onto the page.
Oh, wow.
Unless you had a paid membership, and it was like, oh, damn it.
I think my the most infuriating copy pasta thing that I've ever been involved with would be the there's a few websites I can't remember, but whenever you copy something, it doesn't stop you from copying it, but it injects into the text that you copy its own blurb being like, this text was copy pasted from
I remember that.
whateverthehell.com.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you'd be like,
JavaScript.
goodbye, that bit of text.
Exactly.
You tried, or something.
Thanks for trying.
Yeah.
And then there were also ones that hid, like, it would be an invisible panel that they put over top of the text so you could never highlight it.
Oh, that's frustrating. God, web developers are the worst. You know what? Web developers is what happens when the only tools you give someone to do their job is CSS and JavaScript.
I mean, before the days of all the really big frameworks and things, because now we have lots of
all those big
NPM
frameworks are
tools
just
for everything.
abstractions around CSS and JavaScript.
Yes, they are. They in and of themselves are like a very complex layer of abstractions, so learning those tools is sometimes a little weird too.
Exactly. Like,
And
web
a little misleading
developers
sometimes.
Web developers is what happens if you give someone like a Sisyphean task that just it just mentally destroys them and turns them into the worst kind of human.
Aw, Angelo's got some baggage about web developers, doesn't he?
Mostly about JavaScript, but yes.
JavaScript is pretty terrible, but
Yeah.
somehow it became this huge, giant player in the web world.
It's because it's the
these-
only one.
True, it
It's
is the
the
only one.
only
Unless
one-
you want to learn WebAssembly.
Like, WebAssembly is fairly new. And you know what WebAssembly runs on? JavaScript. It's fucking bullshit. It's all Java. It's that fucking astronaut memes. Wait, it's all JavaScript? Always has been. one of these days it's going to come about that somehow the Intel management engine baked into your CPU runs off JavaScript.
Isn't that terrifying? That's a terrifying thought.
It is a terrifying thought.
Ooh. Let's move on. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
So Linus Tech Tips started an OnlyFans.
Yes, and became the top 1% content creators on OnlyFans.
It
They surpassed all the other people and their feet.
It was amazing.
And their bathtub water.
Apparently you can actually buy gamer cooling loop water for a little while.
Yep.
And
they did specifically advertise that in the video that they published.
They actually explained their joke for once. For like the first time ever, they explained their April Fool's joke because a lot of people didn't realize that their OnlyFans was actually a joke. Apparently within like a day and a half of it being live, they made $15,000 on OnlyFans.
So they basically made back a chunk of change that Linus lost on the GameStop thing.
Yeah, basically.
So, backstory, Linus shot his mouth off on the WAN show.
My God, that was hilarious to see live.
During the GameStop thing and said, I will match whatever. I think it was like
5 times match.
5 times match for any donations that people in chat gave during that episode.
And within half an hour, people donated $10,000. When
he
it got to like $8,000,
phone call with his wife.
Yeah, he had a phone call with his wife on the show. It was ridiculous.
It was one of those, honey, I did something really stupid. We're gonna need to take out $50,000.
Yep.
So that was not an April Fool's joke, and then this one happened on the WAN show, and they had to explain it. So, Kate, compared with the video they did last year, this one was significantly more funny.
Oh yeah,
the one last year was the video of just like it was the expose, like the spicy expose of how Linus doesn't know anything.
Oh, was that last year? I thought it was cement cooling last year.
Was it cement cooling last year? God, I think the years are blending together. That or last year just doesn't exist in my memory.
But they also explained on the same WAN show how the cement cooling loop video worked. And I thought that was hilarious.
Oh my goodness.
Apparently they actually used milk in that PC to cool it.
Ew.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah, very gross.
Ew,
Milk with like flakes of chalk or something.
Still ew.
Yep.
Still ew. That's gonna curdle so fast.
Yeah. That's one way to pasteurize your milk. Use it to cool your CPU.
Please
Milk
stop.
the cow directly into the lube.
Just stop.
Anyway, so I have to give Linus props for being able to film that video with just with a straight face. I can't believe the stuff he was saying with a straight face. It was terrible.
It was absolutely wonderful.
But it was gold.
Some other good ones were Razer had the RGB hair dye.
Mm-hmm. The Rapunzel RGB hair dye. There was the Chroma RGB stuff.
For a solid while, I thought that RGB face mask was going to be the joke. I was like, wait, did this get leaked?
They're going ahead with.
They're actually going ahead with that.
Yeah,
they're making that for real.
Yep. There was also the Satechi Cyber Mouse, which looks like a Cybertruck from Tesla. Which I thought, honestly, it's not a bad form factor. Is my first thought.
That would be very pointy. That would be
very pointy, but it's definitely mouse shaped, and it's like, well done, good job recognizing that. I really like the Lego Smart Bricks, which is basically all that you no longer have to worry about stepping on Lego bricks. Was Lego's whole marketing approach. Back to the gamer side of things, there was also the review, a sneak release leak of NVIDIA's RTX 4090.
Which
I thought was amazingly well done, just because the fabrication to make the card look real was actually fairly well made, and the video itself was pretty funny.
That guy does that every year.
Does he?
Yeah,
I'm not familiar with
his YouTube
stuff.
channel. His YouTube channel is only him reviewing fake graphics cards
Yeah.
every
Nice.
April 1st, and it's amazing. But like the
Wow.
4090, there are extra large pizza boxes smaller than that graphics card. It was amazing.
Hmm.
That's hilarious. I know I saw an image of like Logitech's new gamer keyboard floating around, and the keyboard is keyboard sized, but it's only WASD plus a double GG and then a power button for instant quitting.
That's fantastic.
It was
I love
perfect.
that.
What else was there for April Fools?
There was a ton.
There was a lot
It's-
of stuff.
It's impossible to keep up with all the April Fools. And eventually, the worst thing ever is when you see an April Fool's joke and you're like, wait, this looks amazing. I want this. And then it turns out to be fake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My friends were talking about, I was just like playing games the other day with some friends, and they were talking about, I don't remember the exact thing because it's not a game I play, but in one of the racing games they played, the developer jokingly said that they were going to release like a track pack that included a track that people have been asking for a long time. And then they were like, just kidding, it's April Fool's, and people were understandably
We're genuinely
upset.
disappointed.
Yeah, because like, I don't know, your community, look, as any company, you owe your success to the people. So don't give them something that they asked for and take it away. It's one thing
Exactly.
if you
Yeah,
create
it's kind of
something.
a giant middle
Yeah.
finger.
It's one thing if you create something that is like
That's a joke.
unique as a joke, but if if your company, if your people, your audience are genuinely like, hey, please, this is something we've been asking for, and then they're like, hey, sort of, here you go, and just kidding. It's like bad practice. I think doesn't reflect well.
One of my favorite April Fool's jokes every year that I look forward to is actually in Fate Grand Order,
Oh.
where they change the character art on all of like the character cards from like the gorgeous, well rendered, super awesome portraits of the characters to these like little chibi gremlin versions of them.
Gremlins.
Like it's hard to describe if you don't know who Rio is, but so I posted one in our Discord chat about the kind of difference you could expect in Fate Go. But,
Yes, very lovely.
I see no difference at all. They're
It's,
the same. They're the same.
It's
photo.
absolutely wonderful.
Related to that, actually, I wanted to bring up something that is sort of getting some traction in the last month or so, really, which was non-fungible tokens.
Yes.
So, NFTs.
Yes.
Some people may have heard of them. Some people may not have heard of them at all because they sort of exist in a weird space right now. For anyone who doesn't know what it is, it's almost like selling rights, a digital right to something. Like
Imagine, let's say you have an MP3 file on your computer, like a music file. Do you own that file? The answer generally is no. You don't have the license to that. Anyone could copy it. It is not exclusive to you. But the difference with NFTs is that it uses blockchain, effectively the exact same technology underlying Bitcoin. And most NFT projects specifically use the Ethereum blockchain to prove ownership over a digital good.
yes.
Yep.
The thing is, just because you now own that digital good, just because you now have proven that you own that digital good, doesn't mean that people can't copy the digital good.
Yes.
Just because you own a sound doesn't mean MP3 recordings of the sound suddenly disappear. They're still everywhere.
Yeah.
But you prove that you own, if you want to call it the original, or have the rights to it, or what have you. That's kind of what it does.
one of the big usages right now, and obviously if you're not part of this community, I'm not part of this community, but I'm just saying, like, you might not know, but the NBA has sort of this in-house merchandise, which is basically selling basketball cards, sort of like baseball cards or hockey cards, collectibles. And using blockchain, they basically distribute these cards. You can buy the cards, obviously, and you can claim ownership over the cards. You can display them sort of like you would with any other trading card digitally. And it's just that you would have the right to that card. You own that card because you own the section of NFT that is attributed to your account. And like these things are some of these cards, therefore, because there's implied ownership, you can sell the ownership, you can transfer it as well. That like some of these cards go for like thousands of dollars. There's art that's going for thousands of dollars. There's been like auctions of stuff going for thousands of dollars. And it's really interesting because the reason why it links back to sort of what we're talking about artists is that it involves artists potentially in the control and the share of the art that they make, in deciding where that goes and how much their art is worth. So if they're selling a song, for example, or selling a piece of work in general, they can, reattribute that work to them and the costs to the artists, but give like fans or the owners, the purchasers, some sort of essentially digital reward, which is like, you could say, well, that's not too different from how we do a lot of things, except like it's just the uniqueness of ownership, I believe, is a big part of it.
Yeah, it's enforcing exclusivity, if you will,
exactly,
on a digital product, which is explicitly new. Digital products, I want to say by definition, but that's not really it, by the nature of them, are perfectly infinitely copyable. If you have an MP3 file that is now 25 years old, you can have still the original without degradation of any nature right now. And quite frankly, everyone in the world could have it right now, and it wouldn't really cost anything. Whereas with NFTs, you can trace the ownership of an NFT to one person, and some people really like that exclusivity.
Yes.
Now,
it's accountability.
I have a couple different issues with NFTs. Like, there's certain things about them that are really good, but like, for example, for an artist, you can make a thing, you can sell a thing, and because it's an NFT, someone can like verifiably own the thing. And depending on the NFT project you're working with, every time it gets sold after that, you can actually have a cut of it going back to the artist, like going back to you, which is kind of cool. But because of the way NFTs work, they use a fuck ton of electricity.
Yeah.
Like, to put it into perspective, right now, maintenance of the Bitcoin blockchain, so people mining it, processing transactions, all of that nature, takes up about as much energy as Argentina. If Bitcoin were a country,
game up.
If Bitcoin were a country, it would be within the top 35 users of energy in the world.
That's pretty wild.
I looked this up the other day. Bitcoin uses almost as much energy as Norway.
Crazy. And when you think about the carbon footprint of that.
Exactly. Like, Bitcoin effectively added its own country to the world in use of energy. And Ethereum isn't that much better.
Right.
The only issue is, like, Ethereum isn't as big as Bitcoin is right now, so thankfully it's not using that much. But to process an NFT, in the past, people were looking at it, and yeah, one NFT transaction takes about the same amount of power as an American household uses in a day.
Oof.
That's pretty insane. It's one of those like hidden costs of things. Like you never really think about power usage. You know, like a lot of people don't really think. I don't want to get into some kind of like, I don't know, argument about green.
You don't want to get into
not,
you don't want to get into tree hugging hippie crap, but that's just the reality of it. Like,
it's not even that. It's like it's the idea that
it's
we don't. Nobody
that.
thinks about it. Nobody really thinks about it. And when I say nobody, I mean like outside of a very small select group of people. Like I know, for example, how much energy it takes to run my computer, and I know I pay the electricity bill for my house. I know how much we're paying annually for electricity, more or less. But I don't think about it.
Exactly.
I turn off the lights in my house when I'm not using them.
In the past, I actually did a cost-benefit analysis of this.
Right.
And I had a home server that I would leave powered on all the time. And based on its average use, average wattage, I calculated that maximum it would cost me was $10 a month in electricity. Whereas I could get like a virtual server with Linode for $5 a month. Mm-hmm. And so I had to look at, well, is it worth the extra $5 for me to run this home server? And I decided that it was, because there were other things that it could do for me faster than a $5 Linode instance.
Wait, is that $10 including all of the transport fees and all the other stuff that they put on top of your actual usage?
As far as that goes, that was just electricity.
Okay.
Because in that situation, well, I'm paying for electricity anyway. Mm-hmm. So how much am I adding to my bill by just plugging this thing in?
It's not even just that, too. Like, we don't think about sort of the services that we access as also using energy, which is like, again, I know the cost for my usage on a personal level, but I certainly don't think about how much energy does Twitter use. And I use Twitter, and thousands of other people use Twitter, and they have to use energy in order to function, obviously. So,
and the reality is,
like,
how
much energy are the Google servers that run Gmail using?
If you, for example, send a tweet, or to make this more realistic, if you send an email with a digital file in it, the energy use is basically negligible. It doesn't really use that much more than the computer would have used to run anyway. But once you get into like crypto and blockchain, and in this case, NFTs, because they have to run thousands of computers at 100% load to even exist, they, by the nature of themselves, use a fuck ton more. That is the whole point. That is where they get their value. That is where they get the proof of work. By your computer burning massive amounts of electricity to do the thing. And so that's why, to me, I just find NFTs currently unethical. It's just, I could go to Red Deer and go to the donut mill and get a way better donut than I could at any Tim Hortons in the city. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I would be burning 10 times more gas to do it.
Mm-hmm. It's an interesting take on it. And not a direction I thought we were going to take, but it is absolutely something I like think about on the peripheral, but definitely I don't think I've ever verbally acknowledged it until today. So I'm glad to be part of that, conversation. And I'm hoping that it also opens the eyes and minds of other people. It's like realizing just how much resource we use in our modern day. And it's not just how much gas I use or how much, how much electricity I waste when I leave a room light on or whatnot. It's like there's a lot more to it, and you're a part of it. So
now, having that said, if an NFT project comes around that has just as secure of a blockchain without using bullshit amounts of electricity, if they basically make blockchain without the proof of work being how much electricity you burn, if it's as basically energy neutral as any other computing, hell yeah, fuck yeah, all for it, 100%. Some people are like, oh, but you're enforcing exclusivity on digital goods. It's like, yeah, but who cares? Like, if someone's willing to pay for it, it's really not selling a piece of art or a song or the rights of something. I don't find issue in that exactly. Sometimes I find issue in how copyright is enforced, but selling the rights to something or selling the ownership of something, yeah, whatever.
Look,
Someone can own something.
all I'm saying is I think it's amazing that things like essentially digital things get sold at all, because I'm always bewildered by like gacha and like microtransactions as it is. I'm like, I don't want to buy something that's not physically mine. So I'm
Yeah,
just
that's
waiting
fair.
for a big old sunspot flare up, solar storm, and just destroys everything, and I'll be like, haha, now you're just as poor as I am.
I'll just put a wire wastebasket over my computer, and that'll protect me from sunspots.
No, you fool, you've got to make the aluminum foil hat.
I mean, yes, that would work
give
too.
A tinfoil hat
Mm-hmm.
to all of your electronics. Yes.
You know what's always funny? People who buy Faraday cages for their Wi-Fi to block the harmful Wi-Fi radiation and then complain about the Wi-Fi
good
not working anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just worried about 5G giving me cancer.
I don't know. I want my 5G shot.
I want my 5G shot. I don't want 5G waves going through me.
Imagine if the COVID vaccine actually was some Wi-Fi microchip or some 5G microchip, and then you could just like hijack the connection, the 5G connection it gives you to have free internet everywhere.
Wow.
That would be so good. I would be like, bless you, Bill Gates. Thank you, benevolent master.
Mm-hmm.
That is the dream.
So the Space Jam 2 trailer dropped yesterday.
Nice.
I haven't seen it yet. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I haven't seen Space Jam since I was so little. And I want to go watch it again because of this hype. And then I want to go watch the Space Jam 2 trailer.
I legitimately have not watched Space Jam in about 10 years, but it was good. I watched it in theaters when I was a kid.
I watched it last year.
I had it on VHS.
Did you?
It was
Whoa.
fantastic.
I had it on VHS. Did you have the coin? Do you remember like a big silver coin that it came with? I had the collector's edition.
God,
It came
no.
with the coin.
Did it come in like
A
a
very
big,
an entirely
The
plastic-
big
fungible
puffy
token.
case? The
Yeah, the
big
puffy-
plastic and foam puffy case? Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. It was so good.
Kids these days,
They
will
don't
never
know.
You know, actually, a quick tangent. Do you remember when video game cases were like useful and
boxes?
fun and unique and had manuals? I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I love video game manuals.
Me too.
I remember.
You know what?
I can remember the smell of a Game Boy game manual. Like,
Wow.
just
For
like,
me, like
mm.
when you're in the back seat of the car, you're unpacking it before you even get home.
Oh yeah.
You start reading the
But
But
manual.
you can't really
and it
play
hypes
until you
yourself
get
up to the
home, so
game.
you start reading the manual.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and it
the
hypes you
manual
up for
was
the
like
game.
my
Right.
favorite part of getting a new game.
And for kids, they're like, why would I need a manual? There's a tutorial in the game. It's like, yes, old games also still had some tutorials, usually, like not as much because that would take up a lot of space in the game, and there was limited space. But the manual was just like it was like an accessory. It wasn't necessarily that you need to learn how to play the game so much as you wanted additional information. It was like a mini pocket guide.
I think it was during the
amazing.
GameCube generation where games slowly stopped including manuals, and I started getting more and more disappointed.
Aww.
Like I can't remember what game was the first game I bought that didn't have a manual. All I remember was opening the box, and there was just the disc there, and I was like, "Wait, what? What? Did they forget something?"
Do you?
And I had to look it up online.
But like
You guys
there
have
were-
bought like I don't know. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna go back to like the old games. Some old games for Nintendo systems had actual codes in them that you needed to know to progress in the game. And they like a lot of them also had like proper actual tips on how to do well in like this or that battle mechanic or whatever. And they, like you said, due to the space constraints, they don't, make a very fully fleshed tutorial that you play through for 30 hours to get good at
They
the
often
game
couldn't.
mechanics. Anyway, go on.
Like what is it? Ego Raptor, Aaron Hansen. His sequelitis videos on YouTube talk about how Mega Man X, like the first Mega Man X game, the first level of that was a perfect tutorial without explicitly stating so.
Right.
And the first level of the Super Mario Bros. Game was basically the exact same way. That was your tutorial back in the days.
Mhm.
a level that kind of forced you how to learn the basic mechanics of the game. Not master them, but just force you to learn them. Whereas now, you play like Cyberpunk, you're like 8 hours into the game and you're not done with the game telling you how to play it.
I had in a related vein, it's been a long time since I bought a CD. Do you think CDs still have inserts?
Ooh, I don't know. Remember when all CDs had
like
the
no.
lyrics and stuff?
Right, lyrics, track lists, credits as well, additional art sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel a little bit old talking about this, but I'm also feeling like a little more sad that I think a lot of these types of products don't have
kind
all the
of
old
weird
features anymore.
So I haven't bought CDs in like 15 years.
Yeah.
But within the last like 3 years, I've bought records twice.
Nice.
I bought the Valhalla OST on vinyl, and that one came with like some art inserts. It came with like a drink
Creed
menu.
Valhalla?
No, like VA-11 Hall
one.
A.
Got it.
The cyberpunk bartending action.
Yes. Got it.
So I bought that, and it had a bunch of art inserts and other extra stuff with it. And it had like bonus tracks on the records, and it actually came with a digital download for the OST too. And then same with I bought the River City Girls soundtrack on vinyl, and same thing. It comes with like art inserts and extras and like a digital download. And like, it's just a really cool collector's item to have. I'm never even going to bother fixing my record player to actually listen to them because I don't have to. But it's just such a cool item to have. Also, the fucking the booklet, the sleeve, the cover for it, because it's just so huge by the nature of it. It's basically a work of art itself. It's awesome.
I have these expectations of any soundtrack that I would ever buy for vinyl, but I haven't like jumped in full on head first committed yet. Like I haven't bought myself a turntable yet. I haven't bought the everything that will need to go with that. Just so that I can dive into vinyl, but man, that makes me want to.
It's just super cool.
Ugh.
Like in the old days, like vinyl was more it was the way that you listen to the music. So they actually didn't include that much because they wanted to make it cheaper for you. Like I've got old vinyl. I've got really old vinyl. I was actually going through things. Apparently we have 4 different copies of the exact same Queen vinyl. We have 2 different copies of Night at the Opera and 4 copies of, I can't remember what the name is. Wow. But like 2 of them have a sticker on it where it was like, yeah, £3 for the whole vinyl. And all you got was the cardboard sleeve and the record itself. But I mean, that's how it was.
Mm-hmm.
How it must be.
So what is the proper way to store vinyl without it warping?
I don't know. Just put it in a milk crate.
It is the way.
It is the way.
We got a little bit far away from it. I did want to get back to
Space Jam.
Space Jam, sorry.
No worries.
So, watching the trailer, it feels like it has a much different vibe than the original Space Jam. Like just based off the trailer, the guy, the basketball dude, turns into a cartoon briefly before he turns back into himself. And there's a lot of CG because, I mean, back in the original Space Jam, they couldn't really do CG very good. So, of course, it was 2D. But they've got, like, such a mix of everything in it that I'm actually kind of interested. I want to kind of see. According to comments online, while the general idea and the vibe of Space Jam 2 is the exact same as Space Jam 1, apparently Space Jam 1 is not canon to Space Jam 2.
Okay.
So, like, Monstars and everything apparently never happened. I hope whoever said that is wrong. Because even if they never show up, I want like a reference to the Monstars. I want like, yeah, this is what happened to them. They all went back to their home planet and died along the way.
I have 2 major thoughts about seeing the trailer. Number 1 is there is a major like Ready Player One kind of vibe. There's no the space that they are talking about isn't like the space of Space Jam. We're not talking about outer space. We're talking about virtual space, it feels like.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's virtual
That's right.
Space Jam.
It's more
2.
virtual space.
Yeah. And the other thing is that there's a weird clash of animation style that I really didn't like, which was like, I don't care about them going from 3D to like there was live action, 3D, and 2D CGI, and I don't understand why they sort of just drew LeBron James as a completely different style of art. Like it's he's like I get that they want to stand out, but like, and it's a modern style of cartoon art, but it really clashes against the rest of the cartoon cast so much that it's really visually disturbing for me to read it, essentially.
I'm gonna hold judgment on that personally.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm still gonna watch it.
The way you've described it, I'm kind of reminded of that episode of X-Arm that we didn't make it through. So
it's much better.
Don't expect it. Like, from what I can tell you, Nancy, most of the time when it was all 2D in the trailer, it was all 2D. There wasn't really CG showing up.
Yes.
There were periods in the trailer where it was like real man with 2D, just like Space Jam 1 or Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
And then with the CG scenes, it looked like they had a little bit of both, where it was real man with CG and some CG man with CG.
But there's like transition. It's not 1+1. It's like a 1+1 and then bracket 1+2. There's separate times for these operations.
Like I don't think it's going to be like X-Arm at all. I expect it to be exceptionally good.
I expect it to be
part of me
acceptable for this generation of children to be watching, and this will be the Space Jam they refer to, which makes me a little sad, but that's okay. I still have my original Space Jam.
Exactly. Space Jam 1 still exists.
Yeah.
And as mildly disappointed as I was when I saw the whole switch to CG in the later half of the trailer, at the same time, it makes sense. And if they use it well, if they use the strengths of CG to like make huge, swooping, awesome camera movements and really complicated, amazing choreography for the game, it could be absolutely awesome. It could be better than Space Jam 1.
Gasp.
Blasphemer.
How dare
I'm going
you
to
say
say it.
something like
Get
that?
out.
The technology allows it, so I'm going to be optimistic.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's gonna be a cartoon basketball movie. Just live with it. Just watch it.
I'm hyped.
I will.
It's not about winning
watch
Oscars here, okay? We're not here for some critically acclaimed Oscar-winning movie. We're here
not
for some
here.
basketball Looney Tune goodness.
If you want deep, thought-provoking story, go watch Chef Boyardee's Presents Tales of Game Studios, Shut Up and Jam Gaiden. That's where you go for the good story. The Hoops Barkley saga, that one. But if you want cartoon basketball, go watch Space Jam or maybe Haikyuu. That was the basketball one, right?
Haikyuu.
But mostly Space Jam.
Yeah. And if you want to play a game that's like that, just play Charles Barkley, Shut Up and Jam Gaiden.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Hell yeah.
For gaming and story.
Exactly.
Hoops Barkley saga.
Shut up.
In
and
fact,
jam.
I want to go play.
Gaiden.
I want to go play Hoops Barkley, Shut Up and Jam Gaiden, Chef Boyardee, Tales of Game Studio, Shut Up and Jam Gaiden, Hoops Barkley right now. So bye.
Thank you again for listening. Check out the Otafest store, and we'll catch you next time. Goodbye, everybody.
Good night.